Well, my first sort of experience of discovering electronic music was, when I went to Ibiza. Went to Space and all the incredible clubs there and just saw like amazing DJs, and I was like, wow. Like before then I was like really into hip hop, R&B, and I got quite a broad range of like music that I listened to anyway, but I just I just felt like the energy and all the performers, and it was just like wow. Like
does that to you.
It does, isn't it? And
yeah. I was a bit of a loser kid who had this obsession with DJing and music, so I got a paper round when I was a kid so that I could buy vinyl and start my collection, but I didn't have decks, so I would try and mix from a vinyl onto a cassette and back, and then I'd record my own radio shows. Hey,
really skilled.
That's really sad. So it was always there. I always had vinyl collection. I was always trying to sort of DJ as a hobby. And then it kind of just took over. Ibiza definitely had an influence as well. Going there, I started hanging out with some DJs as well, and it just became more than a hobby. It just became more of a job, and then gradually it became my full-time job. So
mine's different because I was never really clubbing or in that dance music scene, and I was singing with my guitar in bars and stuff like that, and then I went to study music, and then when I got into producing, that's when I really started falling in love with dance music, and then I started researching more underground clubs, because I hadn't really been raving or anything, just to the Park Disclosure kind of vibe. And then bought a pair of decks off eBay, and then that's how it started.
Wow. DJs are like a walking jukebox, man. The amount of knowledge they have about music.
The thing for me was I really wanted to make music anyway, so I wanted to create those moments. DJing's all about creating those moments of euphoria and togetherness on the dance floor, isn't it? And if you can do that with your own music, it's almost even more rewarding.
Yes. I know I was in some sort of bar, because I was singing and playing guitar in the bars, and then I got DJ gigs from there, so I took my all-in-one. I upgraded from my eBay controller that I soon realised was not the one, and upgraded to a bigger DJ controller, and played in this bar. But I remember there was one point where it was like an emergency loop situation. I actually managed to own it, but I think one of the well, I thought I managed to own it anyways. But I think those were my sort of first gigs in those little bars.
I was kind of thrown to the deep end of it, but it was this club called Akasha in Ibiza. And it's my first ever time DJing anywhere, really. It was actually Guy J that was playing. It was me and Guy J. And I was just
that's the way
completely shitting myself.
Mine's the other end of the spectrum, because my first official gig in front of anyone was at my mate's house party.
Right.
If I shout them out, Claire and Dunk, they'll be so they Claire and Dunk made my career basically. They had this house party, I set my decks up, vinyl decks, a decent sound system, and it properly went off as well. So it's not really a gig, but that's the first time I ever played in front of people and thought, I want to do this. I really want to do it, and then I took it to bars and then built it from there.
Nice.
So
I think for me personally, just seeing the crowd react to your music, so rewarding, and it's hang on, I could do this forever. It's like those special moments that you just don't ever want to end.
When I started getting into more club stuff, that's when I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing. So obviously in the bars I was doing slightly more background music and stuff like that. But when you finally get into a club and people are as involved as you and just there, and you don't always get that with every show. You work with it, but when you get that, it's just that is.
It is,
That's the moment. I have chewing gum on it. Chewing gum's is a one, and a little stand. It's on the rider because I'm small.
I literally just have water on my rider, and I've had a few different agencies, booking agencies that I've been with now, and they're like, hey, we need to add something on here. It's part of DJing, and I'm like, I don't feel right asking for anything, so I just don't put it on there. And I don't want to add, if they can put those, costs into promoting or running a better event, then that makes more sense to me than me asking for
depends on the event and stuff.
Definitely does.
My ride is I need a bit of an energy boost sometimes, so bananas, good source of potassium. It sounds ridiculous. Obviously, a bit of H2O, water, and vodka and Diet Coke, that's my go-to drink. I don't want to take the piss, but sometimes I fancy Domino's, so I might throw that in.
Did they get you the Domino's then?
Sometimes. Sometimes they're no, you had your crisps.
Alright, I'm going to chew gum.
I
I think one thing like loads of producers struggle with is just like having that network and feeling comfortable to send your tracks and actually being like, yeah, do you know what, this is great, I'm going to do this and I'm going to move forward. I think that's one thing. Disorganization of shows, and sometimes, yeah, being like a female, like you get disrespected. I remember I was in America and I was trying to get to a show and they wouldn't even let me in. They were like, no, you're not DJing.
It's mad, isn't it? That's what came into my head. The main thing is like people underestimating you all the time. That's a really big thing as a female. It's like I almost tomboy myself up a bit so that people like give me a little bit more respect. It's really weird, but also like getting to the gig and the technician saying, oh, do you know how to use this mixer? And I'm like, I've been DJing for 20 years, mate. Do you know how to use it? Or somebody said to me recently, are you the event staff or should you be in the DJ booth? Which of the DJs is your boyfriend? And it's really? Like, come on. And it's like micro things, but it happens quite a lot. When I started, I was kind of one of the only females playing, and a lot of females that tried to start, because it's such a boys' club, they end up giving up. And I just I almost twist it around and think, I'm pissed off that you've done that to me, so I'm really not going to give up now. I'm going to like do even better than you thought I was going to do, you know? And that's the only way I've really seen that you can just got to keep going and just ignore it all, really.
Playing at Tomorrowland, that was a moment like getting a boat to the stage, and I've just been like on the go so much that I didn't really all kick in, and then finally when I was playing and just had like these big water fountains behind me, I was like, oh my god, this is actually amazing. So I think that was a big moment, but they're all big moments for different reasons, but that one definitely was a good time.
I had a track that did really, really well in South Africa. Like the dance music scene's massive out there, and their equivalent of Radio 1 have a chart, and my track was like Eminem and Rihanna were number 1, and my track was like number 2. And so I flew out there to do the first like tour off the back of that, and it was like security taking me through the club, and they were waiting for me to drop that track, and when I did, it just like totally erupted, and I turned the music down, they were all singing it, and I just cried my eyes out. So that's still my best memory by miles.
I think for me, it was probably my first EP when it dropped. You know, like I got a lot of recognition for it. I worked so hard for it, and it's like your first baby, really. It's just like, it's like one of those moments, like finally, like, you know, my work is out, you know.
Really cute.
It's a very emotional moment for me. I never think I made it because I think there's so much more work to be done, but like, I feel like, you know, when you get recognition as an artist, or I heard of you, or, you know, like label like A&Rs or whatever, you know, and that people that are aware of your work, and then it's kind of like, okay, so they know who I am, so, you know, I must be playing up the light, or like one of those, you know what I mean? Like,
the moment when you made it, Tomorrowland definitely was like a good moment, but I did the first Spotify mix, that like series, and the first female to do that, so I thought that was a bit of a moment as well. Yeah, that was really cool to do.
That's cool.
Represent the ladies.
It's like they're all just kind of stepping stones, aren't they?
They are.
You've never made it at any of those.
It's always enjoying where you are in the process.
You know?
But you do get those moments, right?
Of course.
Not when you do the emergency loop. I haven't done it again. Okay, I have not done it.
Obstacle for women is like, it's very different for women to try and have a baby and then get back into the industry, because you do lose momentum, and I've been so conscious of that, trying to keep my momentum but also trying to be present as a mum. It's like really hard.
I don't know how you do it. I'm struggling with a small dog, let alone a baby.
I'm struggling with my sister.
I mean, he really stresses me out. He's quite a yappy one, but
so it is like having
So how do you feel after it when you come back into the industry? And
I felt a bit, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle because I know that I've lost momentum and relationships, and you have to be in people's faces, really, don't you, to stay relevant. And so, but luckily I've got lots of kind of supportive labels, Colorize and stuff around me that have been,
A lot of labels are searching for females. I was speaking to my mate the other day, he's not female, and he was like, it's really hard to get signed because they just aren't interested, you know, they want the women.
And I was thinking just sort of maybe widen, smaller labels especially, like widen their net to look at places that you wouldn't normally. Like even on my label, most of the stuff that I get sent is from men. And I have to, yeah, definitely. And I think it's tricky, like you were saying, it's a bit, at the minute, some people are like, oh, why is it all about equality and women are getting all the opportunities? But it still isn't equal, so we still need to do that until we don't need that diversity and, you know, pushes anymore.
It'll be good to see like women headlining as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to
more
say.
Headliners.
See, realistically, that still doesn't really happen, does it? We've got Peggy Goo and Nina.
But I think
but then,
that's not solving equality, is it?
Yeah.